All right, my name's Jim Engel, and you want to know some basics? I was born on January 5th, 1962, in the great state of Missouri, and I was born in St. Louis. Um, my mom and dad was Frank and Frances Engel, and they were also born in St. Louis. And then I have my grandparents uh, were also born in St. Louis, and my other grandparent, my that was my dad's parents were born in St. Louis, and then my mom's parents were born in Sicily. They came over uh, to Staten Island uh, in the 1800s and late 1800s. My grandpa was 19, and my grandma was 3 on my mom's side, and that was the Marzuko side. So you have the Ingle side, the Marzuko side, and I went to school in St. Louis. Graduated in 1980 from Lindbergh High School in St. Louis County. Uh, and then shortly thereafter, when I was 18, I joined the Air Force. And that was a fun time. I did that for 11 years. And
I'm Sue, and my birthday is May 25th, 1959. I'm 65. I was born in Fontana, California, but we were only there. I was the 4th child, and my grandmother used to tell me they went there because they were hiding the fact that she was pregnant with me because they couldn't afford me. So they went there, and she used to tell me the story that I was the only grandchild didn't get a new outfit to wear home from the hospital. So she always had to tell me that story. But anyways, my mom was 16 when she got married, and my dad was 18, I guess, maybe. They both worked at, I don't know if anybody knows where this place is anymore. Sound, y'all know where the stockyards are, right? Does the Isis Theater ring a bell? My grandmother was the manager of the Isis Theater. So we lived right next door to her. There was an apartment in the back, and my dad's dad lived back there. And so my mom and dad's parents lived right next door to us. And my grandfather, he was lucky enough to have a job during the Depression. So he worked at the stockyards, parking cars. That was his job. My dad worked 3 or 4 jobs at one time trying to keep food on the table, basically, to feed us 4 kids. But, and we didn't have a lot, but we didn't know any different, and I went to her school, 1st and 2nd grade, and then I went to W.J. Charter, which is in Fort Worth, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th. And then we moved to Springtown. My dad bought 30 acres, and we moved to Springtown out in the country. And I went there from 6th grade to the time I graduated, and I graduated May of 1977. And my first husband, I started dating him in 9th grade. And so then we ended up marrying, and we were married for 11 years, and I had 2 children. Their birthdays were 1980 and 85. So my son lives with us right now, and he is now 45, and my daughter is 41. So they're 5 years and 6 days apart. And actually, I was only planning on having 1 child, and that didn't work out. And I was going to college at the time to be a nurse. And so then I get pregnant with my 2nd child, and I stopped going to college. And I was out 5 years, and since I had to repeat all those courses, about 2 years of classes. And then I got into the nursing program after that, graduated with a applied degree in applied science, and then I got into the nursing school for RN, so I graduated as an RN, and I loved that job. I wish I could still do it. And my parents just worked really hard to try to put a roof over our head, and they did work hard. And us kids were always fighting, you know, ideas. We were stair-stepped. Like I'm 65, my brother was 66, my sister 67, my older brother was 68. But anyway, so a lot of fighting, a lot of noise going on. You know, that goes with getting children so close to age. And I don't know, just and then I forgot about this husband. And then after the first one didn't work out after 11 years, and I hate saying that, and we didn't part ways in a bad way. I still care a lot about him. We're friends. But anyways, I met Jim on the beach in Azle. He owned a home in Azle with where he lived with his first wife, and that's where I met him. And after that, we started dating, and we got married in Mother's Day in 92?
94.
94. That's terrible. Mother's Day of 94. We've been together ever since. He was still in the military when I met him, and he got out shortly after that. So him finding a job was kind of a little struggle for him. And then he got into the nutrition stuff, went to college for that, and he's done very well and able to support us. And, you know, then we end up having a motorcycle wreck, and that kind of took my job away, you know, so I lost my leg. But, you know, whatever happens, happens. It worked out fine because he, at that point, was able to support us, you know. And before that, I was working 3 or 4 jobs at one time because he was going to school. So we were trying to, you know, work together, make it work. And so when that happened, his business was doing well enough that RNs, registered nurses made pretty good money, and I was making really good money, but unable to do it anymore. So he, by that time, had picked up his business very well enough to support us. And we lived out in Brock, and then he bought this house, and that's where we've lived ever since. How long have we lived here?
20 years.
20 years. My mom.
We bought this in January of 04.
Okay, my mom, she lived out in Springtown, which is where I graduated from high school in 1977. My dad had passed away early on in 57 of lung cancer, and it had metastasized to his bone. And then the brother next to me, he died of a massive heart attack at 57. So he's gone, and we were really close. I mean, really close. I miss him so much. But then my mom, she had to have a back surgery, and when we built this house, the idea was build a room for her because I wanted her to come live with us. Because my dad's gone now, and she was out there just with her little dogs, and I didn't like her being alone. I was worried. So she moved in with us, and she lived for, how many years did she live with us?
15 probably.
Yeah, she lived with us about 15 years, and then she died of dementia. And not a day doesn't go by I don't miss her. So.
Yeah, what was really wild about the accident was I was praying for God to show me where this car came from.
True story. Yeah.
Because when you ride, you see everything. Sue's on the back, she's seeing everything. And we go into this gas station, and we're in the driveway, and next thing you know, boom, we're hit. And you know, I hear this horrible grunt coming from the back side where Sue was, where this severe pain. And I go flying this way, like she said, she goes this way, and I'm rolling, and what the heck? And so I am praying that God would show me, would take me above that scene and show me where that car came from.
No, sir.
And about 3 weeks into that, I went to work, and I'm on a cane because my back was hurting still. It was really hurting bad. Sue was still obviously in the hospital, and because she had severe injuries in her leg and pelvic and all that. And at any hoot, this guy walks in, And he goes, "Are you talking about a motorcycle accident that happened in Crescent?"
He just happened to be talking about
And
it.
I go, "Yes, I am. That's what we're talking about." And he says, "Yeah." He says, "How is your passenger?" And I stood up with my cane and I got a piece of paper and I drew the intersection. Where'd the car come from? He goes, "Oh, that's easy." He said, "I heard your bike coming up, because I like motorcycles. I heard your bike coming up and I saw you take a turn. The next thing I know, you were hit." Well, what it was
Hey, guys.
I totally got chills that I got this answer of where this car came from. It was in the intersection and it had missed its lane turning. It missed the next lane and it went into the shoulder and hit us in the driveway. Okay? He saw the whole thing. He was there with his girlfriend. And he goes on to tell me uh, that she was on the phone talking to her aunt, who is the driver of this car. As we're pulling in, this car is coming. We don't see it because there's other cars in line.
Plus,
So we don't even see
Florida
this car
to get it through
and
the lot.
we get hit. So it was amazing because I said, "You have to excuse me." And I went to the back and, I let out some little tears. I mean, my prayers were answered because I had no idea what the heck happened, and that's not like me. And I've got obvious injuries. Sue's got these obvious injuries. And I'm like, did I just pull in front of somebody? What happened? See, did I black out? What happened? And then the truth was told 3 weeks after I started praying about it. Yeah, it was really awesome. And I really, I thank God for that, no doubt.
And he had no reason to even come in there. He didn't even know
Yeah.
why he came in there.
I asked the guy, actually, I said, "Have you ever been in here before?" He said, "No." And I said, "Well, what brought you in today?" He goes, "I don't know. I was just driving up the street and I just saw a health store, so I thought I'd come in." I said, "Okay." Guess what? I haven't seen the guy since. This is really wild. But I got my answers. It ends up being truthful and everything, and what was said, and so it was a major event in our life. Was that accident? Everything was pretty smooth. We're rocking along. We had our house in '04. Everything was going great, and this accident happened May of 2007. So Sue ends up losing her leg in September of 2010. Okay, where they amputated the leg finally because of infections, etc. She was really in a hard way when it came to infections. The doctor said it would kill her. We got to amputate the leg. So that's that story. That was an interesting story on that. Another great story that you guys are going to love. When we lived in Azle, I first moved into Azle. There was this shed in the back that you couldn't see. It was too close to the house. It was a huge shed. The top of this shed was 16 foot, if not 20 foot, where the ridge line comes across, okay? And it's 30 foot, 25, 30 foot in length. So it's just blocking the view, just sitting right there. So I was told that this thing was going to get moved when I bought the house. Well, it never did. Long story short, I put an ad in the paper for somebody to help me move this. I'll pay them, for it. So this guy responds, he can't do it. Another guy responds, he said, "Nope, I can't do it." And this other guy responds, and his name was Ricky Green. Well, Ricky Green was a mass murderer. I didn't know it, obviously. And he was from Boyd, Texas, and we were out in Azle. He said he could bring his tractor down and move this thing. That never happened. He tried to move it, couldn't move it. So I told him, I said, "Hey, why don't we tear it down, right? And we'll just rebuild it. We'll pick up the foundation and we'll move it over." It was pier and beam, of course, old shed. And he goes, "Okay, we can do that." I said, "I'll still pay you, blah, blah." So that was about 2 days. On the third day, my wife at the time, this is my first wife now, I'm in the Air Force, okay, so you can I'm stationed over here at Carswell, and she wakes me up. And on the television, they're arresting Ricky Green. And they're going through the different people that were killed by Ricky Green. Okay. One of them was that Channel 5 guy at the 50/50 Club there in Sampson Park. Okay. And
he was a news.
At any rate, my whole body went ice cold. So that is a story for the ages, that for whatever reason, this guy liked me and did not harm me or my family because he had plenty of opportunity to do so.
Because Jim had gotten the vehicle with him.
I drove to drop off the tractor to Boyd in his truck. He drove the tractor out to Boyd. And then we got in the car. He gets back in the car to come back to the house for dinner. We're going to cook dinner for him. And I could have went missing easily. He could have come back to the house, wiped out the family, whatever he wanted to do, because my wife would have opened the door.
He was married.
So it was a scary time.
He was married, and his wife really was a part of this, but she made it sound like she was the Stockholm Syndrome, one of those kind of things that she was being made to assist in all these murders he was doing, and he did it right there in the trailer that they lived in. His dad owned a boat company, like right next to it in Boyd, so yeah, Jim was very, very lucky. He had to have liked him, or he would have been gone too. It's just what he did.
He took to me, yeah.
He got great enjoyment out of killing people. So
I had some guardian angels on that one too.
Yeah.
So that was
really did.
That was quite an event back then in Azle. But no, we've had some good things.
Scary,
some good things and bad things. And that was one bad thing. That was one that was like, whoa, you got to be kidding me. That was scary. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, in 87, I was stationed here. So I went 87 to 92 here in Texas. Joined in 81. I was in Arizona for 2 years, and then I was 4 years in England. And that took me, this is a cool story. My grandparents on the Ingleside were able in 1985 to come over to England. So my first wife, myself, we had a babysitter, right? That took care of our kids. And my grandparents went on a 7-city, 5-country tour in Europe together. And one of the funniest things was we're sitting in Holland, and my wife and my grandma went outside to call on a call box. So it's a phone booth over there. And to call and see how the kids were doing, et cetera, et cetera. And my grandpa and I were left inside the bar. So we want a beer. So the bartender said, you want a small beer or you want a large beer? We want a large beer, right? So this mug comes onto the table or the bar, and it is this big around. It is that thick, that glass, just like the St. Pauli girl. It is filled all the way to the top. Now here's the memory. The memory is, how are we going to drink this, Grandpa? Right? I look at him, he looks at me, and we slide it over to us like it's a baby so we don't spill it. And we're both like this, and I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me as we're slurping this beer. It was so cool. I'll never forget that moment there. I know you're going to want to say something too. I'll say something short and sweet. You're always going to have trials. You're going to have tribulations. The Bible tells you it's going to happen, and it does. There may be a tornado. There may be a hurricane, a tribulation that comes your way. There may be an accident that's a trial in your life, like with Sue and that situation. Okay, you have to stay in your lane in life. Know your strengths, and know your weaknesses. Accelerate on your strengths and work hard on your weaknesses, and you'll go far. When I opened up the store in 1996, for instance, we had 1 to 2 customers a day, okay? And now we have 50 or so, maybe 60 different invoices a day, okay? But that's 28 years of work, okay? That's years of school, that's years of 6 days a week, that's driving there, driving back. We lived in Brock, which was 50 minutes away. We lived in Rio Vista. That was 50 minutes away. And now we live in Crowley, and it's only 15 minutes away. But I think perseverance through something, and the key is what I want everybody to, was going to watch this, is to understand that that something is the creator of everything that is imaginable. Okay? All that is seen and unseen. And I think that to have faith and to stay the course, you're not going to be able to make it through. Men and women in your life are going to disappoint you. God will never disappoint you. And you have to stay that course. Sue, in her situation, all this pain, all this suffering, all these years. How do you get through it? There's only one way. You have to have faith. And you, even at this time, just to let you know, that everybody sitting out in the church, in the pews, they weren't always sitting in the pews. Don't worry about it. You've got to start somewhere, okay? And I think that digging a hole, you've got to stop it and move out of that hole as best as you can. You can't continue down, well, I'm not a good person. I don't belong in church. I'm not this. Those are all lies. Everybody that's in church, they're sinners. They've all done stuff that they should have never done, okay? But only because of Jesus, you have the ability to be healed from the inside, okay? That he's walking with you right now and you just don't know it. Some of you do that are watching this. But I'm telling you that perseverance is only one way. Do things right the first time and you won't have to do it again, okay? Perseverance. Keep going. When I had one customer, I could quit. I came home, Sue tells me, really? One customer? Yeah. You think this is the job that you want to do? Yeah, I do. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just keep going, and keep going. 1 foot in front of the other. Keep moving. You're going to be discouraged. Get back up. Don't worry about it. Everybody falls into trials and tribulations. It's how they respond to those things. Are you going to get upset? Are you going to die on this hill? No. You are going to keep the faith and move forward. That's what you're going to do. And that's my advice is to everyone watching this, that you keep that moving forward. Don't look back. You're going to fall. You're going to get back up. Okay? So, and there's always people out there that God will send your way. Let me give you an example. When I started my business in 96, I was working at another health store and working at Walmart and going to school, okay? A lady that was a customer at the store I was working at, she comes to me and she says, can we be partners? I want to open a store. And I was like, what? What? She goes, well, I own a store in Lake Worth and you could work there too. I already talked to Dwayne, the owner here, and he said it'd be fine on the days that you don't work here. So I ended up starting working in Lake Worth at her store. And then she puts up the money because she saw the enthusiasm. She saw the hard work. She knew I was about to graduate from Tarrant County College. And she said, why don't we open a store together? but I don't want to do it here in Lake Worth. I want to do it somewhere else. I said, where do you want to do it? She said, well, I was thinking about Crowley. I go, where's that? I had no idea. But that started the adventure of the health business. So with this lady who had a lot of stock of material that we brought to the new store in Crowley, and she had some money for financing, got me off my feet and onto this wild adventure. And that was 96. We're looking at 2025. Mm-hmm. And we're doing well. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's taken years, but perseverance through it. God is going to send somebody to you. She ended up not being able to work there anymore. So I bought her out in 98. And that's what happened. So I've been the sole owner and Sue for all these years. See? But who would have thought that a cook to the Air Force mechanic to a nutritionist? That is so weird. What the heck? You would think I would go to Lockheed Martin. You think I'd work at Bell Helicopter or something like that, being in the Air Force. But it didn't take me there. And I can tell you right now that there are times at my store, and I truly mean this, that the mission of not only getting you off of medication and getting you well, okay, but I've been to my customers' funerals. I've been to weddings. I know their kids. I know their grandkids. It is the most rewarding job ever in the history of jobs, as far as I'm concerned. I would have never been able to do that as a cook. And being a mechanic all my life, busted my knuckles, busted my back, God had other plans. There's times when someone comes in and someone has died. Something tragic has happened. And we pray about it. I say, can I pray for you? You know, let me pray for you. And it's that kind of relationship that has given me. And you would never know that from these steps, this is where we're at. And Sue's a nurse. She's rocking and rolling her career, and all of a sudden she can't do it. Well, when she was a nurse, guess who she met? Me. So I wasn't making any money. Things don't look good on this side. It looks good over there. She's making good money. Then next thing you know, the business starts cruising, right? These different things fall into place, and then she gets hurt. Now she can't work. But I picked up that. So she picked it up early, I picked it up late. Go figure. So perseverance.
It all worked out.
It all works out.
Yeah. I want to say while we're on the tape too, that was a great story, Jim. I want to say hi to my kids who eventually will see this, which is my son, who's now 45, my daughter's 40. I love them very much. They're great, great kids. And they have, my daughter has 2 children, Kate and Colt. Very bright, very good kids, just very proud of them. And then my son has 2 children. The granddaughter's back here, and he has a son, which I told you, he's fixing to have my 3rd great-grandchild. My granddaughter has had 2 of them. So, yeah, it kind of tells our age off. And they're all great, wonderful to be around, and really proud of them. And then we have, Jim has a boy and two boys and a girl. And then he has another boy. You have a boy and girl, and then their children. So his daughter has 3 children. His son has 2.
Yep.
So they haven't given us any great-grandchildren yet, thank goodness. But anyway, so I would like them to see this one day and tell them how much we loved them and how great we thought they were. And
be nice to dogs.
Yes, wish we could have spent
You
more
have to be
time
nice to
with them.
dogs.
And every minute with them was always a good time. So I want to know that.